formative. Nobody's in the chat at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get some people here soon. I'm excited. So I'm excited to be here. Yeah, no, this is a really, really cool thing that I've never, ever experimented with. But hi, my name's Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. So this is my channel. I talk all things movies, mostly Blu-rays, and I'm just really excited to finally just start this live stream because it's just exciting. Honestly, been doing a lot of things. If you're new here, I've built that little shelf over there since my last complete collection video. That's been fun, but just waiting for some comments just to kind of get started here. I really haven't thought terribly too much about what this video is going to be like, but this is the first time I've ever done this. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? There's a couple people here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Heck, cool. Hey, film blogger Sam, how are you? Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm glad that you can hear me. Is it very clear? Good. Yeah. All right. Well, okay, cool. That's good. Well, we got film blogger Sam in here, so we also have a couple other people I see lurking. But does anybody have any questions about anything related to the channel or what's going on in the world today? Because I'd love to talk about it. I've never done a live stream, by the way, so it feels very strange that I am going about this. Usually I record myself, right? And I do so many different takes. I have a hard time with really getting content, unless I have to do it take after take. Okay, so film blogger Sam asked the first question: what does your shirt say? This is a black metal band from Washington. They're Wolves in the Throne Room. They are a really cool black metal band that I really, really enjoy. Very atmospheric, very Cascadian sounding. I don't know if you listen to black metal, but it's a really great band. It's really, really great. Hey, SJS. Speaking of somebody who likes metal, SJS is finally here. How are you doing, man? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad that film blogger Sam knows him too. That's cool. So I guess my question is, since I have clearly I have two people who in here who like metal already, film blogger Sam and SJS. What are some of your favorite bands? Because I'll be sure to answer some of mine as well. I can definitely do that. Hey, Cartoon Fortress. Hey, David. Well, congrats. Hey, everyone's having birthdays. Yeah, I had my birthday yesterday. So tell your wife happy birthday. And yeah, I hope all the best for you, David. Honestly, we need to get together and talk sometime. You and Chris and I will do something sometime in the future, hopefully. So shout out to Cartoon Fortress. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, David's great. So is SJS and film blogger Sam. So, I'm just happy that you're all here. Okay. Film blogger Sam says Death Heaven are up there. Yeah, Death Heaven's great. Really great California, I guess, black metal, post black metal band. I don't exactly know what to consider, like what to call them exactly, but they're really great. Sunbather really put them on the map. But yeah, they've done a lot of really great things. Road to Judah all the way up until their recent works. Ordinary Corrupt Human something, I think something like that. All right, we're getting some people in here now. Okay. All right. I will. Oh, okay. Happy birthday. Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, we'll talk later. Go enjoy time with your wife, and yeah, it's really good seeing you here. Hey, Isaac Dunn, how are you? It's good seeing you. I've seen you for a long time. It's been a long time. Um, hey, at Film Stock. So Chris at Film Stock's probably saying, "What's going on, man? I'm doing good." Yeah, I know we were just chatting. We're actually we haven't really talked terribly too much. Film Stock's been a really good fan of mine, and I've been a good fan of theirs for a long time. So if you haven't checked out Film Stock, they're fantastic. Chris is a good buddy of mine for the last few years. He's definitely been here near the beginning. So is SJS actually. Um, but yeah, no, I we're going to be doing something sometime in the future, very very quickly. Okay, so SJS says Rivers of Nile is one I've been recently into. Also, I found that this is a really good unknown Finnish metal band called Mors Savita, and that I've been listening to daily. I know of Rivers of Nile. I've seen them live twice. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, their last album was really really great, and I really quite enjoyed it. So yeah, no, I'm a big fan of all things music. Honestly, I used to work at a record store. So I worked at a record store in Springfield where I'm at, and I was kind of the metal guy, but I also got really into Massive Attack and a lot of that trip hop in the 90s. I liked Wu-Tang Clan. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I really loved a lot of the experimental. Brian Eno. I really liked a lot of the classic rock that a lot of people didn't really talk about. So Velvet Underground, David Bowie. And then, yeah, so, and then obviously, like right now, a lot of the contemporary stuff. I'm a big fan of and Casey Musgraves. Actually, I know I'm a big metalhead, but I love Casey Musgraves. Kamasi Washington's really great. Obviously, he's more in the modern jazz realm where I really enjoy John Coltrane, obviously, and Miles Davis. But yeah, I really like music, and so I think music really drives a lot of us, together. And I feel like, especially right now, we're needing music. We need film and we need music to kind of really challenge us, but also put us in places of comfort because we're going through a lot right now. Okay, so Isaac Dunn says, "I'm good, thanks. I'm watching your vids in the dark, even if I commit the sin and not always commenting." Oh, it's totally fine, man. Yeah, I know a lot of you watch my videos and don't comment, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just glad that you watch it. Uh, I started this channel years and years ago, and not honestly just doing it like kind of like a Jeremy Johns mixed with uh, Chris Stuckman, kind of like an idea where I wanted to just talk about like movie reviews, but then I totally went, opposite direction. I don't really do reviews too often. I do a lot of reviews, little short reviews on Letterboxd, which I really like. But for the most part, I really just like talking about going further and further into kind of art house films and making lists and things like that. Having my friends come on my channel, and I really want to showcase them. I want to showcase other people. That's the thing I like. I like talking to a lot of other people. That's the thing I really, really enjoy. And so I'm glad you're here, Isaac. Film Stock said, "Do I like REM? I like the first few REM albums, and then it starts getting a little samey. I will say, REM is. I remember when I was a lot younger, when I was listening to classic rock all the time. Losing My Religion was certainly on to rotate, and I listened to that a lot. But for the most part, I don't really listen to them as probably as much as I should. I'm actually not terribly into a lot of the late 80s, early 90s sounds. And I know that is a big no no for a lot of people. I'm not huge into uh, alternative or grunge, so to say. I do like a lot of the stuff from the 90s. I love, like I said, Massive Attack. I like the hip hop scene. I like a lot of the death metal scenes that were coming across and black metal that was coming across in the 90s. Obviously, not really so much on the Mayhem thing. Actually, speaking of Mayhem, let's talk about movies for a little bit. I watched Lords of Chaos recently, which is ironic because I have a black metal shirt on right now. And I thought it was really interesting. Has any of you seen Lords of Chaos in the comment section? I think SJS has probably seen it. But it's a very interesting film. It's a controversial one at that as well. It's a controversial story because it's about Varg Viken. I can never say his name right. Varg, who's killed Euronymous, and the story is just really insane, and it's always kind of plagued the concept of what black metal is. And I've never terribly been a huge fan of the early black metal that existed. I like what it eventually became. I like the modern black metal, as we established earlier with Death Heaven, Wolves in the Throne Room. I like a lot of that stuff. The stuff that's a little bit more environmental and whatnot. Okay, so SJS hasn't seen Lords of Chaos. But yeah, let's move on from there. So some things that I've kind of been recently watching. Yesterday was my birthday, and so I had Chris, who, if you know this channel, Chris Hurtado from Hurtastic Reviews, he was over and we watched some films together. My friend Seth Garrett, he has been in a few of my videos before. He's really good photographer and knows editing like crazy. And then my other friend Daniel Epler, who hosts the Cobwebs podcast, he was over as well, and we all did a triple movie marathon, and that was really cool. So I just picked 3 films, 2 of them that I'm really in love with, and one of them that I totally unknown, but I knew this movie would be fun to watch with people. And that movie, those movies were, the first one we watched was Predator from 1987, which I fucking love, and everyone else should, because it's like a perfect film. It's that combination of action. It's like, oh, these are invincible guys, go through, Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of doing commando-esque things, blowing up everything. Nobody's, getting hurt or anything. Shane Black's there, of all people. We have Jesse the Body Ventura, Carl Weathers, among a whole bunch of just macho people. And then all of a sudden, this one predator just comes and takes them all down, and it turns into a sci-fi horror film, and it's so wonderful. So we did that, and then we watched Miami Connection. Has any of you seen Miami Connection? That's a really crazy B movie that Alamo Drafthouse put out on their short-lived, I guess, boutique label. I don't exactly know. And it's a really fun movie. It's got really good soundtrack. It's some really great taekwondo. But Miami Connection, excuse me. I don't have any virus. I'm just talking for too long. Miami Connection. Friends forever, friends for eternity, loyalty, honesty. That's the stuff that you should remember from Miami Connection. If you haven't seen it, it's worthy of checking out. The first and the third act are the fun parts. The second act is a slog, and there's even a really great plot about one of the characters looking for his dad. It's a really crazy movie. But it's really fun. And then the last movie we watched is one of my favorite films of all time. And if you've been on the channel before, especially early on, I talk about this film so much. It's In Bruges. Martin McDonagh's In Bruges. It's one of my favorite films ever. I just really love the cast, the atmosphere of the film, the comedy. It just all mashes together in a very like melancholic but hilarious kind of sense of something that honestly is really hard to characterize. Just a simple plot with a complex situation scenario. So I really love that film In Bruges, and honestly I could talk about it for forever. I actually wrote a really cool and lengthy Letterboxd review. If you want to check out Letterboxd, that's Dr. Jones 23. If you want to find me, it's usually in all my videos as well, where I put my letterbox. Okay, so I'm going to get to you now. So Dag Films says happy birthday, thank you. JR62 says happy birthday. Hi Nathan, happy birthday, thank you. Chris Mohan, hey, happy birthday, thanks. Hey Andre, how are you? How's everyone doing? And then Dag Films also says should have been a remake of The Predator, a modern day classic. Yeah, so The Predator, interesting thing. So if I was just talking to my friend today about, I watched Predator. I actually think it goes in sequential order for how I like them. Really. I like the first Predator so much. I think it's a perfect film. And then Predator 2 is really fun. You got Los Angeles. You got Danny Glover. It's really fun. Really kind of gimmicky, but it's still a fun movie. And then Predators with, I think, Adrian Brody. That's a fun movie too. It's not good whatsoever. It's not a great film, but it's still fun. It even got Topher Grace in that film. Yeah. And then you get The Predator, which is a movie that I want to forget. I really didn't enjoy it that much, to be honest. It wasn't a film that I had high hopes for it, because I'm like, oh, Shane Black's coming back, but I feel like it's such a choppy film. It's just, it goes all over the place, and I just don't know what's going on. Okay. JR62, do you watch or collect space B movies from the 1950s or 60s? Okay, so I actually want to start. One of my best friends growing up, Ben, he has a lot of B sci-fi and horror films like on those DVDs that you'd see at Walmart, or you would see where it would be like, here's a 50 pack. I would assume you're not talking specifically about those, but I will say that I have seen a few. Like I've seen Forbidden Planet, but that's not terribly a B movie. But I'm really interested in exploring that, honestly, exploring space, if you will. So that's definitely not outside the realm of possibilities. Uh, KJCO007, hey Nathan, happy birthday. Just found your videos and really like what you're doing. Thank you, man. Uh, I'm just, just trying to do what I'm doing. Isaac Dunn says, In Bruges is great, although for me, I've ruined it by having seen it too many times. Right, I get it, right, as a younger age. So I know every joke in the film and it takes away from it a little. Yeah, it is. I kind of find immense joy in showing other people this. So watching In Bruges for probably the 15th time because I like it so much. It's a highly rewatchable film, but it's also pretty dark. I showed it to my friend Daniel and Chris. They both haven't seen it, and they didn't like it as much as I did. But I'm in love with that film, and so, but I feel like they were in the wrong mindset when they were watching it. I kind of think they were talking a little bit too much and not really getting terribly in depth with the story. But I have a special heart for that film, and so that's kind of just my own personal bias. But also, I don't think some of the jokes landed for them. It's a little dated. There's some dated jokes, but it's totally Martin McDonagh. Like it's like offensive, but at the same time, I guess obviously tell me if I'm wrong, but it's very Irish, and so it's such an Irish film set on in Belgium, and so you're seeing that humor kind of translate. It's and making fun of Americans, which is really really funny. I like that because I'm definitely in the middle of America where those people exist, and but I feel like I'm sometimes not in the right place, but who knows? All right. I could have said some controversial things there. I'm sorry. Okay. Derek Burton says ahoy. Oh, hey Derek. Yeah, no, thanks for being here, man. That's good seeing you. Bill's creepy video says hi Nathan. Hey everyone in the chat. So okay, so yeah, now we're saying hi. Oh, thank you. Happy birthday. Yeah, now I'm 28 now. So if you want to know how old I am 28 years old, and still kicking. My eyesight's getting worse probably from being on screen, watching too many screens. I'm watching too many, uh, you know, TV shows and movies and playing video games and all that stuff, and just And now I'm addicted to coffee, so I'm a big bougie coffee person. I don't know if you know this, but I like making pour overs and French presses quite a bit. So, oh, Derek is one of those people who hasn't seen In Bruges. I know, yeah, we actually talked about that, I think. But yes, definitely go watch, go watch In Bruges sometime. Set aside some time for you, Derek. If you haven't seen In Bruges, I highly recommend it. I'm biased as hell, though. I also really, really love Colin Farrell. He's a handsome boy. I mean, also Ray Fiennes and Brendan Gleeson, they're all handsome boys, and so they're just really funny group of people, and I love it. Phil's creepy. I'm 47. I love coffee. I will love coffee the rest of my life. It's so good, and I love that. I actually worked at a coffee shop for a couple years, and that's kind of where I learned a little bit of the craft. And I really enjoy the essence of like a black coffee. So I'm very much like I don't add cream or sugar to my coffee. It's just black. So like right here, I have an Ethiopian, you know, pour over that I made before I made this video, and so I'm a little bougie with my coffee, but I really love the taste of it. All right, Chris Mohan, I'm very Irish. That's a nice way to put it. It's why I'm never sure whether to recommend it for other people from around the world. Yeah, well, it's good to hear that somebody else can attest to kind of the humor that McDonagh kind of portrays. And honestly, I've always been in love with, I guess, Irish or British humor. For instance, I'm a big fan of Monty Python. You can't see it behind me, but there's Predator right here. I have the Plate Flying Circus. I grew up on Mel Brooks, and I watched a lot of the Pythons growing up. And obviously, you see Mark's brother up there. Obviously, this is from around the world, different people. But I love comedy, and I think that comedy, especially if it's dark, I think dark comedy really is what makes us get over some things that are really uncomfortable. And honestly, a lot of these really serious topics that we could be talking about, I honestly think that at the end of the day, comedy really kind of cures that for me. So it always makes me feel better. My insecurities are really thrown in there with comedy, and so I think In Bruges is a perfect film for me, honestly. Um, Derek says, I am plan on watching The Witch based on your love of the film. Yes, I also really love The Witch. You can see that right there. I have Black Phillip, actually, pop T vinyl or whatever that's called. I also have The Witch screenplay book. I have it on 3 different versions. I'm sure some of you have seen that video of mine talking about The Witch and how much I love it. I love Robert Eggers, and I'm really excited for the stuff that he's going to do in the future. I really love The Lighthouse as well. I watched that in a very perfect setting. So obviously, if you are new here or are not aware, I was in China for 4 months, and no, I wasn't there during the whole pandemic. I was there last fall. I was teaching over there, and I missed a lot of movies. I missed so many movies I watched because obviously a lot of the best movies come out near the end of the year, and so I missed all of that. And when I came back, I have a really good friend, and they have a girlfriend who lives in an apartment complex that has a big movie theater. So he rented out the entire movie theater, and what we did with him and another friend of mine, they're biologists. They're really big into kind of science, but also history as well. They're old friends of mine that also were trivia buddies. We went and we watched Leviathan, and I'm talking about the experimental film, not the Russian film, I believe. I want to say. The Leviathan is an experimental film about deep sea fishing, and then we paired it with The Lighthouse, which I could not say is a more perfect storm to pair the two together, and it just put me in a different mindset and a mood. So I watched it, and I really, really loved it. And so, yeah, I was going on a tangent there about Robert Eggers and why I like him so much. But The Witch, it blew me away. I remember the first time I watched that in theaters, and it was just that film that really engrossed me. I was by myself, and I was, a lot younger at the time. 2013 is when The Witch came out, I believe. 2015, I don't remember. That's bad that I don't remember that. But I do remember where I was, and I do remember very, very fondly of how scared I was watching it and how engrossed I was into this film. I hadn't seen anything like it before, and so I just really loved it. And then ever since then, I revisited Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist and a lot of the films that kind of would probably influence a lot of the kind of modern horror that we're seeing today. And I really, really enjoy those films. So, all right, now let's get back to this. KJ 007's KJC 007 says Colin Farrell is great. Just watch The Lobster and he's fantastic in that one. Yeah, I love Yorgos Lanthimos as well. I really love The Lobster. That movie is hilarious, and I certainly did not get that film when I first watched that. The first time I watched it, I was like, "What? Why? What is this film trying to say?" And I wasn't really aware that was my first Yorgos film. And then I obviously watched it again, started falling more in love with it, and I watched everything ever since that. I haven't seen Dogtooth yet. I know, shame on me, but I have seen the other Yorgos films, and I really like it. I really enjoyed the film that would come after The Lobster. Why can't I think of what it's called? Killing of a Sacred Deer. Yeah, very Kubrick in its camera approach and a lot of its delivery. The Yorgos film is so distinct. I kind of feel like he has his own type of style that I really, really like. It's just a lot of his actors are kind of just deadpanning their lines just with hardly any emotion. And I love that. And it almost feels very cold, but then a lot of crazy situations happen. And then obviously I really love The Favorite, which is his funniest film. Well, more on the nose funny, I guess. Lobster's a little bit more subtle about that. But I really enjoyed that. But I plan on watching Dogtooth sometime, and so I certainly like that. Okay. Andre says, I love In Bruges 2, one of my favorite films. Yeah, it's just so good. It's honestly, I could talk about it again forever, but in my post that I put up last night on Letterboxd, it's the film that really got me in the film. Honestly, I would say it's the one that really pushed me further into the stuff that I would like now. So I really love it. Film blogger Sam says, very envious of that A24 book. I wanted to get all of them, but they're way too expensive because I love Moonlight and I really love Ex Machina as well. So A24 is putting out some good things. I hope that their track record isn't going anywhere sooner. I have to drink this coffee before it gets cold. Uh, okay. Derek says that's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, check out The Witch and also In Bruges, buddy. You'll like that. Uh, SF Bay Kid says, "Where's my set?" He's not here. I saw him last night though. He looks good. Let's see. KJC 007 Killing the Sacred Deer is next on my list. Well, that's good. Yeah, no, it's a great film. And yeah, like I said earlier, you'll notice the cinematography has a very like almost like perfection look to it. A very Kubrick kind of look to it in that department. But obviously, if you've seen other Yorgos films, you'll know it's a Yorgos film, and also Colin Farrell's in it. And wow, Colin Farrell's in The Lobster as well. We talked about Colin Farrell. That's what this whole thing's about is Colin Farrell. How much I love him. Yeah. So no, he's great. I love him. Okay. Film blogger Sam says Dogtooth's my favorite by Yorgos. Okay, good. Good to know. I just need to get that film. I need to watch it. I would really enjoy it. Andre said Sacred Deer is my favorite Lanthimos film. It's a really good one. It really is. Yeah, I won't say too much more because I know that it's on the queue for 007. Hey, buddy, what's shaking? Oh, it's my friend Palmer. Hey, Palmer. So Palmer actually and I did a video. We're going to be putting up a video very soon that we recently did together in safety. And so it's going to be really good. I really enjoyed our video. But Palmer, he's a good boy. Rico, I don't know how to say your last name, Rico. Is it? It's almost like Joanne Nu. I'm sorry. I'm just really bad at pronunciation, and that's my problem. But hello, Rico. It's good seeing you. Um, okay, I got that right a little bit, kind of. Okay, so does anybody want to talk about anything outside of film or have any questions for me about anything? Because I would be more than happy to talk to you about different things, things in my collection, what I plan on doing, steps forward in the future, anything that I plan on doing, anything that you want to see me do in the videos. Would any of you be interested in possibly collaborating? That would be really fun. Like I said, there's a few people in this chat that I will be collaborating with. I already know because they're in my periphery, and I can do that. So I have that question for all of you. But what is everyone watching right now? I know I just threw a bunch of questions at you, but I will say that something that I'm currently watching that I really enjoy is I'm watching The Last Dance on ESPN Plus with Michael Jordan. I freaking love it. So I grew up in the '90s, and obviously, just like everyone else, we all had Jordan fever, and we just really enjoyed basketball. And so reliving that and going back and watching it in a documentary format is really cool. In fact, I even got the ESPN 30 for 30 Blu-ray box set that I'll probably talk about sometime in the future. I don't know if any of you are sports fans. I'm not terribly a sports fan, but I do. I have a father who is the biggest baseball fan that I know, and so sports are something I do enjoy. It's just not something I'm like passionate about. But I think there's something interesting about everything, and so I really love that. And that's what I love about film is they can just go from a very very straightforward like blockbuster popcorn flick to something that really challenges you in a artistic form or in like a political sense. Honestly, that's just the magic of film, and I'm sure most of you already know that. And so I'm just really, really excited, just to be into this in this community as well. This community, I feel like, is one that is really supportive, and I really love all of you guys because you're just fantastic, and you're the reason that I'm here, and I hope that all of you are here for other reasons as well, from other people who's inspired you to be here. So it's really, really cool to see everybody talk about this stuff. All right, so Derek says I'm almost done with it. I'm on episode 7. Oh yeah. Oh, the last. Yeah, I'm on episode 5 of The Last Dance. It's good. It's really good. KJC 007. I'm finishing up with the Godzilla Showa era collection on the Godzilla on Godzilla vs. Gigan. This is something new that I don't think I've talked about before. I do have that Godzilla box set, and I'm really excited about it. And also, Chris Hurtado has really, really enjoyed watching the Godzilla box. He's been telling me all about it. So I can't wait to dive into that whenever I am in the right mindset and the right headspace. But I also, this is the thing I haven't talked about, is I'm a huge Magic the Gathering fan, and I play a Magic Arena. And their newest set, Ikoria, Lair of the Behemoths, they actually have Magic the Gathering like Godzilla cards, which is it's so cool, and I love that. And so I've been playing a lot of that, and it's really cool seeing all of the different monsters that Godzilla fought on Arena, and it's just been really, really fun. That's the only video game I really play. I don't really spend too much time playing video games because I'm too time consumed with a lot of different things. I also read a lot, and I also do a lot of things as well. All right. Film blogger Sam, I posted my first video today on Arrow video recommendations. Maybe once I'm more experienced, we could collaborate on something. Oh, hell yeah. So I'll definitely, I'm going to get that up. That way I can put you down for later. That way I can find you. I don't see the chat at the moment, so I will just have this as a tab for later. All right. So I will watch that later, and I'm really excited to check out some Arrow video recommendations. I am very new to Arrow. I actually only have a few titles on Arrow. My first Arrow video was Cinema Paradiso, so it was Arrow Academy. I really love Cinema Paradiso. I need to revisit it. It's a film that I really, really love. It's a film about the love of film, and that's the thing that is really, really great about Cinema Paradiso. That, and it's Italian too. So that's pretty cool. But the other things I have on Arrow, there's a few of them. I have Lords of Chaos, which is on Arrow Video. I also have The Stuff on Arrow Video. That's a fun one to watch with other people. And I have Gosford Park. So I've been watching a lot of Robert Altman. I have that. And then I have a few other Arrow videos over there that I've done a video on where it kind of explores that a little bit further. But I'm really excited to get more into Arrow Video and Arrow Academy movies. So, all right. So now we have Chris Mohan saying, start watching a documentary Women Filmmaker. It's like film school based around women filmmakers, 14 hours long, so it'll take a while. Is it this right here, the pioneers right here, the Kino Lorber first women filmmakers? If that's the case, then I'm excited to check that out. Too, my friend Palmer actually and I want to collaborate on that so we can like watch these videos together. I actually have an idea, Palmer, if you're still watching, to do a video series with you on this box set, because I would really love to tackle this box set a little bit further with you, of all people, really. Okay. Chris is saying I'll check that out. Sam, yeah, good. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and also Sam says, no way, I love MTG. Yeah, no, Magic's great. I have a long history with that game. I started playing when I was 13, so 15 years ago. And I played because my uncle actually started playing when Alpha, the first set came out in '93 when I was 1 year old, and he played all the way up until 2004. But when I was about 13 years old, he started getting me interested in Magic the Gathering. Started playing in tournaments. Got my ass kicked. I was a little kid, and then I stopped for a couple years, and then in the middle of high school picked it back up. And then I played for about 5 or 6 years competitively here in Springfield. And so then I also did a couple PTQs and a lot of other tournaments, maybe some Star City Games tournaments. Some of you are like, what are you talking about? I was really competitive into Magic. I really, really loved it. And but now I'm sucked back in with Arena, and I hate it. And it takes way too much of my time. But anyway, Vanessa, hey, nice seeing you. Arrow has some really great titles. You know, I love Gosford Park. Yeah, so I'd like to own that one too. Yeah, it's a really great. It's got so many great features on it. I watched it a few days ago, and I watched all the special features with Altman talking about how he's like, I'm the American with all these British cast, and then there's why can't I think of his name? The guy in Cruel Intentions. I have to look at it. You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure most of you know who I'm talking about. Um, God, he's such an asshole in this film. Ryan Philippe. That's it. That's the person I'm talking about. Yeah, Ryan Philippe. He's the actor in this film. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's a really good Robert Altman film, and it's definitely all over the place. It's made by the writer of. It's written by the writer of the Downton Abbey, and so it's definitely an upstairs downstairs type of drama, and it's a really cool ensemble. It's really great. It's got a lot of really great casts in it as well. You should check it out. Um, let's see, 007. Do you have any trouble playing Arrow Video on your Blu-ray player? I've seen a lot of region coding, but I'm not sure if they'll work on my PS4. So I actually don't have a PlayStation 4. I have a region-free Blu-ray player, a hacked Blu-ray player, if you will. And so, yeah, my Blu-rays are fine. I've never had any issue with my Region B stuff, but I have this Sony player that I play a lot of mine. I first started doing that when I got my 7 through 63 Up documentary series. That was my first like really exploration into Region B. And I'm like, why the hell am I just buying stuff for Region A? I should start buying things from the UK. I should start buying things from Arrow, from Second Sight, and Indicator. I really want to just explore into the different boutique labels that exist outside of America besides just Kino Lorber, Criterion, which I'm the biggest fan of. That's my favorite of them all. And then Masters of Cinema is in the UK, and then there's some other ones on Warner Archive Collection. There's a lot of them. Twilight Time just ended. That's really, really sad. We also have stuff like Vinegar Syndrome, which isn't really my thing. I'm not really big into exploitation films terribly too much. I'm starting to get into horror a little bit further. I think Arrow is going to help with that quite a bit. I have really good friends like Daniel Epler, who is really, really big into the Hammer horror, and we talked about Hammer horror Dracula. I actually did a Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires podcast episode with him. So if you want to hear that, go check that out. It's really fantastic. It's Cobwebs podcast. We talked about Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. We talked about all of the Hammer horror Dracula. It was really, really fun. I had a really good time with that. Okay. Let's see. Vanessa says that Kino Pioneer set is gorgeous. I know, it's beautiful. It's honestly, I'll show people this. So this right here is the Kino Pioneers first women filmmakers right here, and it has 25 hours of so many material. It's got 1,710 minutes of material in here. 50 more than 50 films. It's got so much stuff to it. It's quite insane. But yeah, this box set is just fantastic. There's the book. I can't wait to check this out with Palmer, who is still watching, which is great. But yeah, it's got 6 discs with a bunch of things on it. So I'm just really excited to check this out and really delve further into film history, especially with the more unknown side of film history, because unfortunately, women weren't really touted as much, especially during this time period. And so this is just a fantastic box. I'm very happy to own this. So let's put that back and answer some questions. Derek says, my Twilight Time order just shipped. Excited to get some added to the collection. I'm new to Arrow as well, and all I have is the apartment. Yeah, I need to get the apartment from Arrow. That box looks really cool. I love the apartment. Jack Lemmon's great. Yeah, that movie is hilarious, and I need to go further and further into that as well. Film blogger Sam, have ever day 2 to Grand Prix? I have not, but I got really close. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of control or mid-range control kind of strategies, and so I'm talking about Magic if anyone's kind of confused. Vanessa says Ryan Philippe. Yeah, Philippi. Derek says Ryan Philippe. Julian Fellows. Yeah. It's a really great. It's a really great movie, Gosford Park. You should really check out Los Angeles Players. Oh wait, Palmer says you should really check out Los Angeles Plays itself. Great documentary about how LA has been represented on film. And yeah, I should check that out. I was actually speaking of LA on film. I was just watching. Uh, I was just talking to my friend. I watched Predator last night. If you're just jumping on, I watched Predator for my birthday uh, yesterday with some friends, and then I had this conversation this morning about Predator 2, which is set in Los Angeles. And I remember when I was younger having the image of that first scene of downtown Los Angeles, like the gang violence that occurred, and kind of just like everyone has the Uzis and guns, and it's really violent. Obviously, I don't think that's a clear and accurate representation of the time period. It was a hyperbolic, it was a hyper violent time in Los Angeles because the Rodney King shootings were happening at that time, I believe, and a lot of things were going on. But it's definitely really interesting to see that um, that there is a representation of LA in film, and obviously that's during the '90s. But LA also, we have the Hollywood kind of perspective of things, and yeah, I'm really excited to check that out. I'll have to check that out, Palmer. Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it? Officer Sausage. Nice name, and that is true. Everyone, if you don't use it, you lose it. So, yeah. Does anybody have any questions about the state of things or how things are going? Just really excited to do this live stream and really talk to everybody about different things. Obviously, it sounds like I'm rambling, but I'd like to say that this has been a really fun experience, and I hope to do this a little bit more in the future. Maybe I will preempt it with questions. That way I can answer them in advance. But I wanted to really check out this feature because I've never done this before. And usually I have something in front of me. I have an idea, and I usually have um, uh, editing exists as well to kind of take away all of the ums and uhs. But I actually kind of like the imperfections as well. I think it makes it more interesting. Vanessa asks, I see you have the Before trilogy posters behind me. Yeah, if you see that, you have Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. I really love Linklater. There it is right there, that Criterion box set. I really love those films. I know Daisuke Beppu, who's an old friend of mine, he had a live stream on Before Sunset, which is my favorite of the films. I really love Before Sunset. I think it's a film that's just perfect because it's sandwiched in the middle. It kind of just ends on that uncertain note. It's can't talk. It is a film that lives in the moment and does not care about what the present or the past or the past or the future look like. I'm sounding very confused. But this film and these three films, maybe there's going to be a fourth. I'm really excited if there is going to be a fourth with Ethan Hawke and Julie Delphi. But the second one's just it's such an amazing film because it's a film that really kind of just lives with the idea of like the what if. So that what if this thing actually took off. So obviously Before Sunrise is kind of like a romantic fairy tale-ish story of somebody meets on a train and then they spent the whole evening with each other, and it's this this really lovely evening, and then they ends on such like a oh well a hopeful future, and then skip 9 years and you have Before Sunset, which is the actual reality of their situation, and like most of us, where we kind of just live in that moment to where we make a lot of promises. We say we're going to say hello to people, we're going to always keep in touch with other people, but we really don't, and that's the unfortunate thing. There's not enough time or space, I feel like, with a lot of us, so we have to really pick and choose how we're going to try to interact with other people, especially people that you might love. And so I really love Before Sunset because it just goes further and further into that idea of living in the moment, and that's totally kind of what it's kind of what I do. Honestly, with a lot of the things that I do in my life, I don't really like to base a lot of my decisions on what the future is going to look like. I'm very much a now person, and so it can be to my detriment. I don't really plan that much, which is my problem. But at the end of the day, I really love it. So Before Sunset, and then also Before Midnight, which is a really great homage to um, Ingmar Bergman's. Uh, why can't I think of it? Scenes of a Marriage. Yeah, that. There's such a great homage to that film in that film. That homage to that film. That film. Okay, Vanessa. I just got my Criterion trilogy box set yesterday. It's such a gorgeous box set, right? I mean, okay, if you haven't seen this, we're going to continue talking about the Before trilogy, but it's one of the loveliest box sets. I don't know if you can tell with my really terrible camera that I have, but it's just got different shades. Obviously, sunrise, sunset, and Before Midnight, each indicating with the sun, right? But it's just such a great box set. I really need to jump further and further into this. I've read the book before. I've watched the special features. It's really great. I'm a big fan of Richard Linklater. In fact, I actually just recently Arrow had a little sale not too long ago with only a few of their titles, and I picked up Waking Life, and so that's coming in the mail, but also it'll take a little bit because it's coming from the UK. But I really love Linklater, and I love Ethan Hawke as well. He's one of my favorite people, and Julie Delpy is fantastic too. I really love her, and I've seen her only in a few things. I've seen her in some Kieslowski films, the Three Colors trilogy. I think she's in the second film, so White, I want to say, is the film that she's in. But I really like her. Um, Ethan Hawke is one of my favorite actors too. Yeah, he's just fantastic. I even have films that he's not great in. I really want to get that film with Selena Gomez. I heard it's really really terrible. Just because I love Ethan Hawke. I have the Assault on Precinct 13 remake with Lawrence Fishburne. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm really excited to check that out. I actually need to check out the first one because I also love Carpenter, obviously, and so I need to check that out sometime in the future. All right. Does anybody have any questions about any filmmaking or uh, things that people enjoy outside of film? I'm excited to talk about that. Vanessa asks, how do you feel about Gattaca? I love that film. Gattaca's great. Did it come out in 1997? I want to say. Um, it's it almost feels like it kind of a precursor to a lot of the films that would come out a little bit later in 1999, like or 2000 with AI or The Matrix or anything like that. It's a really great sci-fi, and you also see something like why am I blanking on that? The film. Why am I blanking on it? Wow. Okay. It's got Sean Bean in it, only briefly, and it's oh wow, I can't think of it. Help me out here. Um, hey, Matt Miller, caught me right in the middle of a brain dead. I'm brain dead at the moment. Wow. Okay. It starts with an M, maybe. It's got Sean Bean in it, maybe Christian Bale. It's a sci-fi film. It's literally escaping my memory. I have to look over here. I think it's in the M's. Uh, it's not. Wow. Okay. Well, it's gone. To be honest, but yeah, I love Gattaca. It's a really great film. I think it's really thought provoking, and I really love kind of that George Orwell 1984 vibe to it, and I really enjoy that. Honestly, I guess before that, we saw something along the lines of Demolition Man, where we kind of saw some exploration into some silly concepts that what the future would look like, right? That's really really fun stuff too. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Ethan Hawke and his works. Just wanted to say that I'm sorry that this is not preemptive. Like I didn't put any questions here beforehand. I didn't reach out to anyone. I just wanted to really test this format out, and I've never done it before, and so it's really exciting. I usually do a lot better with some kind of preemptive, like something that I already know a topic on, and but I kind of just thought this would be a nice Q&A of things where we could just talk about random things, movie or not movie related things either. Matt asks, what have I been watching recently? I answered a little bit earlier with the fact that I've been watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary on ESPN. I really like that. Yesterday, I watched The Predator, Miami Connection, and In Bruges for my birthday. I also watched Lords of Chaos a couple days ago, which I really, really enjoyed. Um, and I also watched. I've been watching a lot of Robert Altman. I just finished it. Actually, all of his films that I own, at least at the moment. I finished it with Gosford Park, and I watched McCabe and Mrs. Miller. I watched MASH, Nashville, and The Long Goodbye. And I also watched the Thieves Like Us and Buffalo Bill and the Indians. I watched that as well, but I haven't seen some of the other films that Robert Altman has in the collection, and I feel bad. Like Shortcuts, I don't have that. I need to get that film. But that's what I've been watching. I also just finished Abbas Kiarostami's films. I just watched the whole Coker trilogy. Oh my god! If you haven't seen the Coker trilogy, you need to do yourself a favor. Start with Close Up as well. Before that, though, Close Up is a film that's not in the trilogy, but it came out in 1990. I really love Kiarostami's work with fiction and nonfiction and combining the two with an actual event that happens and then turning into you not really knowing exactly what's real and what's set up. So it's really good. And the Coker trilogy is got so much meta things going on with the filmmaking, and each of them build on the other one. And if you haven't seen the Coker trilogy, it's fantastic. So that's what I've been watching recently. I plan on watching quite a bit of different things up in the queue for my June. I guess I can preview with the people watching right now. Sorry. I will be previewing what I'm going to be watching in June. I'll probably be watching the ESPN 30 for 30. And I will also, I think I'm going to jump into, I don't know if you can see it right here, right behind me, but I think I want to jump into the Jacques Tati box set. So I've actually been reading a book called Goodbye Cinema, Hello Cinephilia by Jonathan Rosenbaum. He is a film critic. I'm sure many of you who are watching actually know who that is. And so he talked a lot about Tati and that he worked with him, and I'm just really excited to jump into this. I've only seen Playtime, and actually I have two versions of Playtime. I have the one in this box set, and I actually have the individual Blu-ray right here, which I've actually heard has different color grades to it than the one in here. My friend Palmer, who might be still watching, he's actually the one who informed me about the different colors in these different. Why can't I think of what I'm thinking of? When they have different versions of the film, obviously. So I'm excited to check out the Tati box set. Yeah, so there's that. Excited about that. Venture, okay. SJS, do you like any stupid American soap opera drama series? Dawson's Creek. I have a weird fixation with them, which is pretty embarrassing. That's hilarious. Yeah, no. So I guess when I was younger, I really, really enjoyed stuff like Eastbound and Down, or not Eastbound and Down. Why can't I? Why it's not that? I'm looking over there. I have some of the DVDs. Grounded for Life. That was a really funny comedy series that I watched when I was younger. I really love Supernatural. I will not apologize for it. I grew up on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and so anything that's like, horror kind of sci-fi elements to it. I watched X-Files when I was growing up as well. I'm just a big sucker for. So Supernatural kind of filled that lack of Buffy Angel vibe that I was missing when I was growing up with it. And so I know most of the people who watch Supernatural are not me, but that's fine. I love it. And so that's probably one of the dumbest drama series I watch. I would say I like Psych quite a bit. I don't think that's dumb though. Obviously, Office and Parks and Rec, all those classic ones. But yeah, I don't really watch terribly too many drama series. But it's nice to know that's his fixation with it. Oh, hey, Vanessa even mentions Buffy. Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite TV shows. I've never seen Dawson's Creek, but I remember it being huge when I was a teenager. It was huge when I was a teenager too. Yeah, Buffy is so good. Man, if you get past that first season, Joss Whedon really, it gets further and further with that series. It's that deserves a Blu-ray, and so does Angel. I will be a big fan of that if that ever happens. Um, okay, Palmer says, thinking of rewatching Where's the Friend's Home today. Actually, I do enjoying Kiarostami so much. Yeah, there's different names for that film. Where's the Friend's Home? Where's the Friend's House? Depends on how it's translated, but it's a really great film. It really reminded me of the Apu trilogy. So we're really looking at, where are you at over here? I have to get you. So yeah, this thing right here, Sajid Ray's work. Um, Obviously, this is a neorealism kind of in his part of the world. It also kind of reminds me of Rossellini and his neorealism. But obviously, I feel like Kiarostami has his own particular take on it. Obviously, with Iran, northern Iran, in his setting, which I think is really cool. So glad that you're watching that. SJS is responding to Vanessa. I haven't seen Buffy. Before I heard about it, I would think so. Buffy's one I actually want to watch at some point. I'm currently watching a series called Felicity. Oh, Felicity's fine. Yeah, Felicity's fine. But yeah, no, Buffy. Check out Buffy. If any of you have not seen Buffy, get past that first season. It's fun. First season's fine, but they really get further and further. And also watch Angel, because Angel is just so fantastic. I remember growing up with Angel in the early 2000s, watching it in the morning. Actually, I think it was on TNT. I think there was like basketball games, and then there was the Lost World. I think Conan Doyle's Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World was on in the morning, and I just remember waking up and watching Angel, and that was just one of the best parts of my day. I also remember getting out of junior high and coming home with my neighbor and watching Buffy at like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock on cable. It was like as it was premiering. Those are some good memories I have. Okay. SGS Films. Nathan, I love Supernatural too. Can't wait for the last few episodes to air. I haven't seen it. I mean, honestly, I don't see it because there's a bed in the way. But I think I've seen it up till season 14. They're just going on. Honestly, it's one of the longest shows that doesn't make any sense to keep going. But I mean, I'll still buy it because I still love it. Let's see. Vanessa says SJS Film Felicity is a great show. I think you'll like it. And yes, you must watch Buffy. It's a must watch. 007, I always preferred Angel over Buffy. Yeah, it's a really close one. I really love Angel. Angel season 5 is it's legendary. Has anyone seen the Buffy movie? Yes, I have seen the Buffy movie. Thanks, Matt Miller. It's really bad when it's really fun when seeing the movie ideas coming before the show. Yeah, so I mean that was like the precursor to the show. Different actress. Joss Whedon had something to do with it too. I think he wrote a lot of it or the screenplay. But yeah, it's a fun movie. I need to get that on Blu-ray. It's a fun time. Got some B movie moments. Vanessa Angel was great too. A little bit darker than Buffy. Yeah, it's definitely darker. I think Buffy Darkness is. I like it over. Okay, they're all talking to each other. I've seen the first 5 episodes. Definitely like it. A bit more mature than many of the other shows that I love. All right, Vanessa. I'm wondering if you're the same age as me, 38, because we're watching all the same shows and TV shows. No, I'm actually 28, so a little bit younger. But yeah, no, a lot of the shows I watched were reruns probably when I was growing up. A lot of them were near the end of their life on cable television, but I watched them as they were happening. A lot of them, especially with Buffy, at least. I was young. Matt Miller, I tried watching Angel, but I couldn't get into it. Disliking him in Angel just makes it harder to watch. Okay. Yeah, you know, 007 saying it. KJC 007. I've always watched Angel on TNT over the summer between school years in like 2004 to 2006. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It was during that time period when I watched it. It was really great stuff. I miss that. Honestly, I don't watch television terribly too much. Um, I wish I did. I really wish I watched more TV. In fact, I've been watching a lot more documentaries. This Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, has really got me interested in going further and further. Okay, here's another thing that I'm going to tell you about that I'm not sure if I should tell you. I've actually have a roommate that I live with who really loves wrestling, and I actually used to be heavily into wrestling myself, and I Also used to watch the WWF and WWE back in the early 2000s. And recently, I've been watching with my roommate The Dark Side of the Ring, which is a really great Vice program talking about a lot of superstars that a lot of controversial subjects and a lot of deaths and drugs and all that stuff. But I've also been watching a lot of matches from a lot of independent circuits. So that's been really, really fun. I've been watching AEW, New Japan, and NXT, which is a subsidiary of WWE or whatever. But I don't know how many people out there actually watch wrestling, but it's been fun revisiting that. I'm just excited to really just delve into different things that I'm interested in. Obviously, I don't love it. I don't own anything, uh, and I don't really just really enjoy that. But yeah, okay. So Vanessa says I watched Buffy and Angel when they originally aired, and me and my friends would talk about the episodes the next day at school. Yeah, yeah, it's really crazy. Me and my best friend, when we were growing up, and I would go over to his house and watch it live, we'd be the ones talking about it all the time, and we'd actually even pretend to be characters in the show and fight each other. It sounds really silly now thinking about it, but really great stuff. And I think that was around the time that I also was really into animated series. So when I say animated series, I'm talking about anime. Does anyone remember Toonami? I'm sure most of you do, but I was a huge fan of a lot of the things going on at that time in a lot of reruns, obviously, of shows. Obviously, there's Dragon Ball Z, Full Metal Alchemist. We have Yu Yu Hakusho, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. And then my favorite anime, Rurouni Kenshin. I really love that. So that was my golden years. Like those early 2000s to the middle of 2000s were the stuff that I really enjoyed. A lot of television series, and that's the stuff that I really honestly need to get back to. I've just been delving further and further into film, and a lot of the films that are a little bit more uh, art variety, I suppose. Does anybody have any questions about any of that? Okay. Okay. KJC. Toonami was a huge part of my childhood. Also 28. So I grew up on the same stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's so formative. A lot of Toonami is very formative in the stuff that I enjoy today. But yeah, it's so crazy. So if I'm thinking about going back in time to the first time that I really started getting into collecting. So I've always been a collector of things because my dad, without really going too much into depth with this, my dad is a baseball hoarder. So he actually hoards things like quite a bit. He grew up very poor and hoards a lot of stuff, especially baseball memorabilia. Cardinals, Kansas City Royals, Oakland Athletics. Those are the stuff that he likes. I also like Oakland and Missouri sports as well. But he got me into collecting. So when I was really young, I really liked collecting dinosaurs and action figures. So like I would collect, Gargoyles, the show, action figures, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Street Sharks, Power Rangers, all those different things. Then I'd go into Army Men, those little Army Men. You would see something like in Toy Story. I collected hundreds, thousands of them. I would even set up scenarios where I would make this entire massive, scenario where I would spend the entire day working on this thing. And I also really like to play Age of Empires and Age of Mythology. So I was really big into this creative, like big scenarios and fighting each other. So I collected all those, and then I went from that to Star Wars. I collected all the Star Wars figures. I sold all mine, making quite a bit of profit on that. And then I moved on to movies. So I've always enjoyed movies, but I never really owned movies. I had some VHSs. I have a lot of the Disney VHSs still at my parents' home. And then I started getting into collecting. And so when I started collecting movies, I don't remember my first DVD. A lot of my DVDs are gone now. I actually don't have very many DVDs left, but I do remember my first Blu-ray. And my first Blu-ray was Avatar, actually, from 2009. And I wasn't really into Blu-rays at the time. And honestly, I was like, okay, this is the next big thing. I already have so many DVDs. Why would I want to upgrade, right? And then we get to 2009 when I got Avatar. I didn't even have a Blu-ray player at the time, I don't think. And so there's no reason for me to have got this movie. And then, years went by. After that, a few years, I started working at the record store, started collecting a lot more music, a lot more movies and DVDs. And I'm like, why I can just easily upgrade this at the music store because I don't have to pay as much because I worked there, and so I can just exchange. And so, after that, I got my Star Wars, Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future. I migrated all my DVDs to Blu-ray, and I switched a lot of them. And I was very, very lucky because, like I said, I worked there, and so I didn't have to upgrade for that much. And so it was really great. And then I started getting further and further into this, and then I decided to make a channel, and I wanted to make this channel based on my love of film and my increasing love of film and a lot of the subjects that it would portray. Now, like I said, near the beginning of this live stream, I kind of mentioned the fact that I got into this kind of with the idea of reviewing movies, making about a 3 to 7 minute video about any movie, giving it a rating, and also talking about a little bit about the plot. Not really giving too much away because I'm not a huge fan of spoiling things for people. I like people going into films with like kind of an idea of what they're going to expect, but at the same time being exposed to that initial reaction that they'll get from the film. And so that's kind of where I started this whole channel from, and I really really love that. Okay, so that is kind of where my current iteration, where I've just continuously changed this channel a little bit, and as I've been developing my tastes, I've started liking films that I didn't like in the past. So stuff like Social Network from 2010. I really hated Jesse Eisenberg at that moment. I don't know why, but going back to it, a few years ago for the first time, I reevaluated myself, and I really, really realized that we're all going through different phases of our life, and I really love that we can revisit things that really have challenged us in the past. Maybe we didn't like it, or maybe it's something that we could go towards in the future, and really kind of just see that this community exists where we can get other people's opinions on it, and it's really supportive. I really like that aspect about being here on YouTube, and I feel like I'm only growing because of all of you, and I want to say thank you for all that. I know this was a big ramble about collecting and why I got here, but I really enjoy talking to all of you and making content for all of you because it's just really really fun. Okay, so back to the chat. If anyone wants to comment on that, please do. Any questions or anything? Matt Miller, I still remember saving up money to buy the Indiana Jones films when I was a kid. Yeah, I remember watching them when I was younger, and unfortunately, I didn't have the Indiana Jones films until maybe I was 22, 23 years old, and so I never got them, but I definitely had the VHSs. Yeah. Let's see. KJC007, your videos are great. Very glad you're sharing your collections and opinions with us. Well, thank you. I don't terribly have too much confidence in my vocabulary. I feel like my vocabulary is a little narrow. It's not terribly expansive. And honestly, I kind of wish I spent a little bit further time researching what I was talking about, pronouncing correct things, going a little bit further into depth with different production qualities about films, because I'm not that person. I'm not the person who talks about aspect ratios or color grading, stuff that doesn't really click with me as much. Like, I'm not very detail oriented. I really like ideas and expression, and I like seeing that unfold. And talking about discussing things is the thing that I really like doing. And so, thank you for sticking with that. I'm glad that people here are enjoying my content and liking my opinion on things. I definitely think there are people out there in this community who are a lot better qualified to talk about those details. And so sometimes when I get called out, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should have done a little bit more research on that. So, but I'm just happy to be here and happy to talk to all of you because I am an open person. I really am. And I want people to be more open with themselves as well and share that with each other. So that's really, really cool. Vanessa says, I've always been a film lover and collector, but I've only just discovered your channel and other film YouTube channels very recently. I'm really enjoying your content. Thank you. Well, thank you, Vanessa. Yeah, I'm glad that you're a film lover and collector as well. I guess I recently found you from Elliot, because Elliot and I recently did a video, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we talked about the 7 deadly sins in the Criterion collection, where we each picked films from the collection, the Criterion collection. We associated them with different sins, and we talked about that, and that was really, really fun. I really enjoyed that. I hope that we can collaborate in the future. I have an idea we've been talking about back and forth, maybe for my channel. I hope that is in the works sometime soon, but it'll come out. So I'm really glad that you're here, Vanessa. So thanks for connecting with all these different people, because it's just, there's a lot of great people in the world, in our world, our part of the world. Okay. KJC007. Are there any other YouTubers who content you watch you could also recommend? So this is interesting. So I definitely wanted to talk about this on this channel, especially this live stream too. So I will say that I unfortunately do not have terribly much of a presence outside of my own channel. And the thing is that I have so much limited time that I have a really hard time with watching a lot of my friends' channels and their stuff. In fact, for instance, Chris from Filmstock, he's here or was here. He's been a fan of mine for quite some time, and I've been a fan of his as well. He's had his channel, and I liked him. I like his work. I like Daisuke's work. Daisuke puts out way too much work, honestly. I love him so much for it, but I just don't have the time to really, like, I guess, delve further into his videos, because it takes up so much time. I'm always on the go. I'm doing different things all the time, and so I just, that's the stuff. So like I said, Filmstock, Daisuke, SJS Films is really great. Elliot Cohen is fantastic. There's so many people here that I'm missing. Movie Chatter used to be a friend of mine that is not really on YouTube anymore. She's great. I really love Steph. My friend Chris, obviously, from Hertastic Reviews, I really love him. He is a really great friend of mine, and I think he's got a really great channel and podcast. My friend, there's so many people that I'm missing and I'm not thinking of at the moment, because I'm just doing this obviously on the spot. And so, but yeah, I really wish I had more time to dedicate towards everybody, and I really wish I could watch more of their stuff. But it's really hard for me to do that, because also I want to watch movies. I also want to read. I also want to make coffee. I want to work as well. There's just so many hours in the day, unfortunately. So let's see, where are we at now? Okay, Phil's creepy videos. Have you ever watched Antrum or Vivarium? Vivarium? I have not. I don't know what those are, actually. Vanessa says, yes, Elliot's channel. I love that video you two did together. That's how I discovered your channel. Yeah, no, it was really great. Elliot's a great guy. I've known about him for a couple of years. In fact, we've seen each other's videos throughout the years, but he's really blowing up. He's doing really great stuff, and his production's fantastic. His voice almost ASMR, kind of like you can hear it in the background. You're like, that sounds nice. It sounds really nice. So I'm just really happy to be his friend, and honestly, I hope to do some more things in the future. Beppu is so good. His channel is incredibly in depth. Yeah, he's on the next level. Honestly, Daisuke is somebody who can delve into a film and the content, the special features, the behind the scenes, the themes of the film, the stuff that he has side thoughts about, and go really, really in depth with them. And I really appreciate that about him. I just really, really love that aspect of him. But he just pumps up so much content that I can't really keep up with it. It's just really, really hard. Vanessa says Daisuke is such a sweet man. I love his content. Yeah, that's the other thing about him. He is the kindest person. He's always really looking out for other people and really hoping everyone, the best in their days and their existence. And I love that about him. And that's another thing that's why it would draw me to Daisuke, is because I kind of feel like we're kindred spirits in the way that we care about the welfare and the content of other people. We really do care about how other people think about things and if they're feeling well. And I feel like Daisuke does a much better job of that than I because obviously I don't really, I'm not really as engaging as he is, and so I really wish that I was a little bit more like that. Andre says, if you like Asian cinema, I recommend the YouTube channel A Touch of Film. Oh, that's cool. A Touch of Film, I guess it's like a touch of Zen with that filmmaker that I'm blanking on, that Hong Kong filmmaker. But yeah, I'll have to check that out. I'll put that in my queue now. Touch of Film. YouTube. Okay, so I'll add that. Yeah, Asian cinema is fantastic. Okay. I did watch recently One Cut of the Dead, and that's a really, really creative zombie flick, and I really, really love this. I saw this 2 days ago, I want to say. Excuse me, coffee. I really, really enjoyed that film. It was totally something I did not expect, and it starts off with a really great one shot, one cut, if you will, and it evolves. It changes into something completely different, and I really love that. I won't give it away if any of you haven't seen it, but One Cut of the Dead is really fantastic. I have the region B that I got from Arrow, I want to say. It's from Third Sight, third Third Window Films is the production company, but it's subsidized through one of the boutique labels. It's really great. It's really, really great. Um, all right, so I know this has been running on for an hour, so I think I'm going to try to close it up in the next 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, please share, and I will be happy to say, because I'll kind of end it up. But Vanessa did ask a question. What do you think of the new Criterion Bruce Lee box set that's coming out this summer? I pre-ordered it because I'm scared of it selling out quickly. Um, I actually pre-ordered it myself as well. I actually heard from, I think I was watching Daisuke talk about it, and the fact that he's like, I think it might get sold out quickly, kind of like the Igmar Bergman box set up here. Yeah, which is really that I pre-ordered it myself as well from the Criterion channel, and I remember for a while it was sold out until they remade um, uh, production of that, and obviously came out. But the Bruce Lee box set I'm really excited about. I've only seen one film of his, and that is Enter the Dragon, and it's very much like preemptive Mortal Kombat. Obviously, I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan from when I was much younger. You'll see where my line of thinking comes from. So I grew up with Mortal Kombat, my hyper violent background, right? And watching Enter the Dragon, being like, oh, okay, this is where Mortal Kombat got their idea of this world tournament, this world martial arts tournament, and it's just insane. And then it's just really awesome seeing, this actor who also did all of the stunts and did all of these different insane feats of strength and also of wisdom. I'm just so excited to delve further into Bruce Lee and into Hong Kong cinema in general, because honestly, it's criminally underappreciated. I feel like the only stuff that I have seen is the Edward Yang. I've seen some of his works, and I've also seen Wong Kar Wai, which I'm really excited for that Wong Kar Wai box set. I hope that is it's coming very soon. I think that's the November release probably. But yeah, I'm just really excited for that. Andre says, I'm glad you love it. Third Window Films. Yeah, so the One Cut of the Dead. It's really great. I just pre-ordered the Bruce Lee set because you guys made me worry I would sell out. That's really funny. I guess everyone's thinking that it might sell out sometime soon. So yeah, go buy Bruce Lee right now because that thing might sell out. It looks lovely. It looks fantastic. And I'm glad that you ordered that because we pressured you to do that. Oh yeah. Okay. So KJC just said I just picked up the Police Story collection because I'm trying to get more Asian action films. I picked that up too. I think when Criterion was doing their 30% off on their website. I really like Jackie Chan too. Obviously, I watched all of the American Jackie Chan stuff that he would do, like Rush Hour. Obviously, Jackie Chan Adventures when I was a kid, when I was a little bit younger in my teens, that existed, and that's how much I know about his works. But I haven't watched a lot of his stuff that like kind of brought him into prominence. And so, Police Story 1 and 2, and that cool box set that exists. It's a really cool a little thing over there. I would go get it, but I'm headphones and it's over there in that corner. But it's really cool. It's a really cool design. I'm glad that Criterion picked that up because I kind of feel like, this brings up another kind of thought of mine, but I wish that Criterion would go a little bit further, more into when I say Asian cinema. I guess they hit Japan quite a bit because that's where a lot of films that we have access to are. But I do kind of feel like we need to delve a little bit further into maybe Chinese film if we can obviously get it. Hong Kong exists. I would like to see some Taiwanese films as well, some films from Mongolia and Burma, Laos. These places that I don't feel like have enough representation maybe in the collection, but obviously it's really hard to because of circumstances. And so it would be really cool to see a lot more of these things. Okay, KJC, Jackie Chan Adventures when I was a kid. Yeah, we had the same childhood. I couldn't believe he wrote, directed, and starred in his own films in the 80s. Yeah, it's really crazy when you see a filmmaker do something like that, because especially if it's somebody doing their own stunts, like in those crazy films where you like they're doing so much work, and maybe it's just they're doing it because they love it so much. And I honestly I commend that, because that's the energy that I wish I had. I wish I had enough energy to be so dedicated to one thing that I could like create and craft something that exists for somebody to see, and to appreciate. And that's the thing also about all of these artists and all these things that I'm talking about, these directors, these actors, cinematographers, everybody who is involved in the film industry, depending on what we're seeing it from, there's so much inspiration going on, um, you know, for all of us, and I really love that aspect of film, and that's the real reason why I feel like I really am starting to understand a little bit more about the world. Obviously, a lot of these films are catered. Some of them are fictionalized and dramatized, but at the end of the day, they're still revealing truths. And even if it's like political or fun or whatever it is revealing stuff to me that I would never know, as somebody who's just living in Missouri, a white guy living in Missouri. I would never understand, and that's the thing I love about film so much, is it really just puts me in the spots where I am a total unknown. I don't know what's going on. There's the artistic side of it too. That's really, really cool. That really challenges, I feel like, a lot of people. And I just really, really like that. And I feel like I'm still young into this whole idea of watching film. There's so many films that I want to see, and there's so many more films that I want to revisit and rewatch. And those are the things that really inspire me. I don't know about all of you. Almost done with my cold coffee now. Not as good. Not as good. If anyone's interested in what the coffee I was just drinking, it's an Ethiopian, and it's fantastic. Um, Thank you for saying well said. Sometimes I have rants like that, and I feel like I get my point across very well. And so many of you may know this or may not, but used, well, I'm a former instructor of public speaking, and so sometimes I can go on rants where I make coherent sense, and that's just. But sometimes I don't. Obviously, like right now, me thinking about that. So that's just how this works. There's some confidence involved, and I like that too. Um, all right, I think I'm going to shut this down a little bit. Does anyone have any last questions or thoughts or anything like that? I'm just really, really happy that you are all here. Cinema Dave Media says, "Hi Nathan, love your channel. Hope all is well." Yeah, I'm doing great. Doing my best, just trying to stay sane while watching all these these films and looking at the job market and just seeing how the world is. Honestly, yeah, it was nice talking to you too, KJC007. Thank you for your videos. I look forward to the next Q&A. I hope that the next Q&A will be a little bit more streamlined, where I can ask questions in advance, and I can kind of go a little bit further in depth with some things that I can maybe script, or some things I can think about a little bit more, right? Vanessa says, "Take care of yourself and keep making videos." Thanks. White ramen, drinking coffee right now as well. Yeah, I need that coffee. It's 2:30 in the afternoon over here. Yeah, about 2:30. And yeah, I always have my second cup of coffee right after lunch, so that's just how it works. I'm starting to get to 3 cups, and it's crazy. Caffeine just kills me. All right, well, I want to say thank you all for watching this. This has really been really great. This has been a really great experiment, and this is something that's very new to me, like I said. But I'm just so happy that you're all here, and that all of you really make this whole thing special. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have people like you who are watching this and giving me the inspiration to go on and further and talk about the things that are really interesting to all of us. And I hope to grow with all of you as well. I hope to check out more of your channels as well. Please let me know what videos or channels I should check out, because I would love to do that. If I get the time, I can try to delve further and further into that and help you out. So thank you so much for checking out this live stream. And as I say at the end of my videos, okay, there's one more person. Somebody says, how are you? Probably going to say your name wrong. I apologize. Misung Park. Yeah, I'm doing great. Just ending this actually. Sorry that you just got here, but yeah, it's been really been fun ride. I hope I said your name right. I apologize if I haven't. But all right, so like I said at the end, checking out this video. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching this, and I hope that you are able to check out more of my content. I also hope to check out more of your content. So thanks for stopping by, and I will see you all next time. I'm not joking around. Flame. I know. I don't know how I got that.